StewMac pedals usually means burning your finger on a soldering iron and realizing too late that you've put a capacitor in backwards. But not this time. StewMac have decided to save us the drama. 4 of their DIY pedal kits are now available as pre-built pedals. So there should be no swearing, no mysterious parts left on the table, no diagrams, just the pedal. Here's the lineup. The Sun Fuzz, which is a silicon fuzz and can get very nasty if you want it to. The Light Cycle Phasor 2, which is an optical phaser, very Mutron inspired. The Ghost Drive, which is a Klon-style transparent overdrive. And finally, the Two Kings Boost, and that is a dual boost drive. It's basically a king of tone. In this video, I'm not going to build it, of course, because they're already built. I am going to put them on a board and see how they sound with a various number of guitars. I've also got my version of the Ghost Drive that I built and my Sun Fuzz. And we're going to see how well I did compared to StewMac's definitive version. I wonder if they sound any different. Let's find out. Okay, so you get some instructions. Whoa, the pedal is yellow. I was expecting white pedals. They've actually painted them. I might be a bit too excited about that, but I'm very, very happy that these are not just white pedals. I guess they have to be painted. Didn't even consider it. Okay, so that's going to go first on my board, and we'll take a look at the instructions in a little bit. I wonder what colour the Ghost Drive is going to be. I personally might have left it white. It is brown. Okay, the Ghost is white though, I guess, so that's something. Oh, it's a metallic. Oh, that's very classy. It's kind of a metallic, shiny gold. I said brown, I meant gold. Sorry, StewMac. Clearly that's gold. What about the Two Kings? Two Kings, gotta be purple, right? Yes! And finally, the Light Cycle. Green, yellow, blue. That's a very pretty blue. So there's the lineup. Let's plug it in and check out some sounds. Kind of weird, but I like the way that looks with the two outer pedals being taller. When I built my pedals, I got a big ego boost from seeing if they actually turned on. I'm hoping they just do turn on. Yes, they do. They work, as to be expected, and that is one advantage of buying these pre-built over building them yourself. There are no surprises when you plug in the 9-volt power. However, I did kind of miss that little dopamine hit when the LED lit up. You saw in the box they came with these cards, which are guides on how to use the pedals, but also on the back there are these suggested settings. So that's what I'm going to use for this video, as well as finding some of my own. I'm going to use the Marshall JTM Studio and the Fender Deluxe Reverb today. If you want to see the full signal chain, there'll be a list in the video description. And I'm going to start off nice and clean with the Fender. Let's set this to the British Invasion suggested setting. There. Clean tone. That is particularly nasty. I get the feeling that it might sound a bit more warm through the Marshall. Let's try that. Now it's sounding gnarly. Let's try the American style. So that's tone all the way up, fuzz there, and volume there? I'm a bit scared by this one. That's a very usable fuzz. I want to test it against my version. So there's mine. And let's match those pots, even though I do know they're probably not the same. See what that sounds like. Just matching the pots, they sound different. Mine sounds more Velcro-y, more silicone-y, where the pre-built one sounds more usable, more there's more range in the fuzz. Let's see if that volume is all the way up. Yeah, it's all the way up on that one. Tone is all the way up, that's all the way up, fuzz all the way up. Let's do full on everything. That's surprisingly more different than I expected. And I like both. I think the pre-built one is a more polite fuzz. My build is just a bit more aggressive, a lot more aggressive. That's interesting. I wonder if there's a bias inside. I'm going to open the pedals up towards the end of the video. We'll have a look inside. If there's a bias, that might explain that. If there isn't, who knows? Unless, of course, the... Hang on a minute. I've switched the order of the pedals. The difference is less. So I've got my first, then the StewMac version. Let's try mine. Okay, what I took from that is the StewMac one is slightly brighter, mine is a bit more beefier. But the difference is less in that order. Must be something to do with fuzzes stacking and fuzzes liking to be where they like to be in the signal chain. Super interesting. I'm more pleased with that now. Let's have a look at the Ghost drive. Now, on the Ghost drive, we've got gain, treble, and output. And there are four suggestions: clean lead, bloom, ambient, and clean boost. Let's go with bloom. Overseas by Jason. I don't know. Which amp am I going through? Let's go through the Fender Deluxe Reverb. Let's get a loop going here. Now when the pedal kicks in, it's a bit louder than just the clean amp, but it does sweeten up that tone. It is a case of my Fender Deluxe Reverb just better, which is, I think, what a Klon is supposed to do. It just brings out the best in the amp. I dig it. It's beautiful. It's nothing new. It's a Klon-style transparent overdrive, but that does it very well. Now let's see if my version of the Ghost Drive does the same thing. I might prefer mine on that setting. That's odd. Mine has more beef. They both sound good. They're both really close. And if you're listening on a phone, I guarantee you can't hear the difference. Maybe I need to give more gain to the StewMac Prebuilt. Now they sound closer. They both sound great. They both sound great. What else can we do with it? I mean, I guess we can. That's a very bright LED as well. Is it the same? Yeah. I've noticed the writing is different. So with the kits, you get this stick-on stuff that looks good, but you can see they're stuck on. With this, everything seems to be printed on. Well, not seems to be. It is. Also different font. Kind of classier. That's a great drive. Without the drive? There is no arguing that that is a great sound. And I normally use the Klon-style drives for the more John Mayer sort of polite stuff. But that's killer. Right, let's try the Two Kings, which I would probably not have a Two Kings and a Ghost drive on the board at the same time. But this might now change things. So this being a dual drive, we have left and right, two different styles of drive. That being a red LED, that being white. Yes. So I'm expecting this one to be the aggressive higher gain channel. Let's set it all at 12 and see if that is correct. Okay, huge difference, of course. It is more aggressive on the red side. This is a King of Tone without the very, very long waiting list. I've played lots of King of Tone clones, and I remember liking my version, which I don't have any longer. I gave it to a friend. But let's see how this one stacks up. There's less volume on this one, so I'm going to boost that a little bit. And this one. There is a brittleness to both sides that I'm not a fan of, and I'm wondering if it's the Fender. I don't think, when I had the Ghost Drive on, that was lovely and creamy. Maybe it is a King of Tone thing. I'm not too sure, but it doesn't sound very Marshall-y blues breaker. It sounds a little brittle. Luckily, it has a tone knob, so let's try backing those off a little bit. I am really not sure about that. With the tone almost all the way down, that feels a bit crazy. Let's try the other side. I feel like this needs to be stacked, so let's set that somewhere there and stack it. The right hand side's output is quite low. That's better. I'm not going to treat this as two drives in one pedal. I'm going to treat it as one drive consisting of two drives. So as a stacked drive, it's better than the sum of its parts. Let's try some of the presets. Stacked rhythm. Now that is good. That is great. That is fantastic. All right. I feel almost foolish now trying to treat it as two different drives like a bonus 2 for 1. This has to work together in order for it to first get the level of gain you need, and secondly for it to actually have any character. That's brilliant. Let's try another setting. Let's try stack. No, what was on the front? Clean boost, crunch, singing lead. Damn, that is fine. That's a great sound. You know when I said I wasn't going to have the two Kings and the Ghost Drive on the board at the same time? That changes that now. That's super, super aggressive. The clean. I'm enamored. I really am. I'm surprised by that. Let's try the final pedal in the lineup, the Light Cycle Phasor 2. Now, being a Phasor, I want to have funk. So I'm going to go for this Let's Get Funky suggestion setting, which is the rate, I think, all the way down and the depth there. It's funky. It feels like I need to up that rate a little bit just to have a bit more funk. Kind of want to put the Ghost Drive on. Yeah, that's whirly swirly goodness. Let's try a different setting. Let's go for Lost in Space. Rate is all the way up there. I'm actually excited by playing a phaser pedal. That doesn't happen often. It's very watery. Possibly a bit too watery for that sort of sound. Let's do a bit of sort of Trower-ish. That's less watery. It's still moist, but with a bit more subtlety. Now obviously you can set the rate to wherever you want your tempo to be. With a super slow rate and a super deep depth, we should get something quite washy. What if we combine it with some fuzz? What if we turn the fuzz down a little bit first and then combine it with some fuzz? I like that, just that riff without the phaser. With the phaser? I really like that. There's a setting on here called voice-like, which is not far away from where I am actually. I don't know about voice-like, but it's usable everywhere. And this goes for the whole sort of series. Everything I've done on all four of these pedals, it works across all the knobs. And on some pedals you find it just has like a magic setting there and a magic setting here. But everything here seems to be thought out well. And that leads me on to the price. I don't know the price of these pedals. I do know that the kits are considered rather expensive for what they are, because you can get super cheap kits. And the reason and my sort of justification for loving the StewMac pedal builds is the fact that the guides you get that come with them are superb. And yes, I've made mistakes whilst building them, but when I've gone back and actually read the guide properly, yeah, I managed to nail it. And I'm not sure what the price of this is going to be, and I'm guessing these are going to be more expensive than the pedal kits, and I think that might make them less competitive. Because as we all know, there are so many options when looking for pedals these days that at least, I don't know, at least one person is going to say, I'll just stick with my $30 whatever. And I will say that with those cheaper pedals, even though they're amazing, they tend to have less usable settings. There's, like, as I said, the opposite of these. The cheaper pedals often have one or two places where they sound amazing, and then the rest can be quite duff. And I'm guessing that StewMac have put some thought into this and some decent components. So let's open them up and find out. This has two QC stickers on it. QC1 and QC2. I wonder why. Right, what does it look like? Pretty darn good. There are bias pots in this. That's probably why mine sounds different. Let's open up mine. Oh, I'm not looking forward to this. Comparing it to professionals. Ready, here we go. Oh. Okay, well, it doesn't look that different on first glance. At first glance. On closer inspection, they're not the same components. They do seem to be the same revision of the board, but it's close enough to not be blindingly, glaringly obvious which one is which on first inspection, sorry. On close inspection, I can see that StewMac have done a better job of putting it together. There's just more protection on some of the bits that stick out. And yeah, this has got better quality control than mine did, unsurprisingly. But I still think I did a pretty good job. And I had fun. Right, let's check out the Ghost Drive. Right, here we go. It does have a little battery connector thing. And there are obviously more parts in this than there is in a Silicon Fuzz. That's a very tidy job. Well done, StewMac. You've done your own pedals well. Let's compare to mine. Right, moment of truth. There's mine. Oh, I also had the battery thing in there. I'd forgotten about that. Put them side by side. What do we think? Who did the better job? Comment down below. I like that they have a protective little thing on the battery. I think that should come as standard on the kit as well. There, can you see it just knocking about to make sure that this doesn't connect with anything? I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting. Oh, they've direct soldered the IC there rather than put it in a holder like I have. That's more sensible if you're doing a kit. But I understand why they've done it, because they're professionals. Unsurprisingly, StewMac have done a great job of building these pedals. And I have to say that the more I look at this Ghost Drive, the more I absolutely love the colour, which is I know it's a ridiculous thing to say about a pedal because that shouldn't be what it's about. But I feel that this colour has been nailed for what I expect a Klon to be. I prefer that goldy brown over any other Klon that I've seen. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. It just appeals to me, that particular shade. I don't know if it's enough to inspire you to buy them. That's interesting. They don't use the same screws. The enclosures are not the same. The screw from my version doesn't fit the pre-built version. So, to summarize this whole thing, I was wondering why StewMac has bothered to create pre-built pedals, because the fun seems to be building the pedals yourself. And then I remember looking at the comments section in the videos of me building the pedals, of people saying like, well, you just buy your own pedal, like buy another one. And they didn't understand the fact that you get the joy out of building the pedal. And in releasing these pre-built pedals, StewMac have removed that joy of building your own pedal. So these are now directly competing with, I don't want to call them pre-built pedals, but pedals that you just buy. And I can tell you that that Ghost Drive is one of the best Klon-style pedals I've ever played. It feels better than the one I've made. The Two Kings, when you use it as a stacked drive, that is glorious. The Sun Fuzz is fun, but I'm not sure that it wouldn't be my only fuzz, that's for sure. I'm not sure if it isn't just more fun to build that one. And the Phasor 2 was particularly difficult to build. This one was both the most fun and the least fun to build. And now just having that effect, for me, I'd rather buy that than build it ever again, because it caused me to sweat. The thing is, as I've mentioned already, I don't know the prices, so I can't truly pass judgment on whether they're worth it. Hello, I'm just touching up the final edits of the video, and I reached out to StewMac to ask for the prices, and it turns out they're just a little bit more than the kits, so like $10 or $20. And that puts them directly in competition with the lower priced versions of the pedals that they have made here. So about 120 bucks for a Klon Centaur style pedal that works across the board, not just in a few places. That's a decent price. The Phasor, great price. Phasor. The Fuzz, it's an okay price in my opinion. And the Two Kings, brilliant. Absolutely fantastic price for the sound you get out of these pedals. So yes, I do now know the prices, and I think you're getting a good deal. Carry on. I can say that I think they sound great, and those two drives alone definitely earn a place on someone's board. And I think that one's going to earn its place on my board. Weird, right? It feels weird to choose that pedal from StewMac, but I'm going to. Check out the prices in the links below and let me know in the comments section what you think. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!